Hey everybody, I'm in the middle of editing some demo reels and working on a couple of short film projects for this October, but I thought on the side it might be fun to recommend some horror films every Tuesday leading up to the 31st. These will be random picks, no patterns to be found here, maybe I'll call it Trick or Treat Tuesday, even though that sounds so stupid when I say it. In light of George A. Romero's passing, I was debating if it would be fitting to shed some light on some of his more underrated films like Martin or Monkey Shines, but lo and behold, my mind drifted over to his zombie features yet again. So let's talk Day of the Dead for a minute. I love Day of the Dead. Love, 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 love Day of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead will always have a special place in my heart as being one of my favorite horror films of all time and one that really got me into horror movies in the first place. Dawn is essentially a fun comic book of a horror film with just wonderful characters and a surprisingly great sense of humor. And then you have Day, which is one of the bleakest, most depressing, and hopeless zombie films you will ever see. And I think it's very brilliant that it went in that direction from where Dawn left off. And you can also understand why this sort of tonal shift might have turned off a lot of critics in 1985. So Dawn was the human race holding on to every last straw for some sense of normalcy and a little bit of humanity, whereas Day is the human race gone insane, just batshit insane, and they're left alone in a bunker before the war's depressing end. People hate each other, they're psychotic, they're they're just a shell of whatever they used to be. They're also drunks, they're depressed, they're at the brutal end of their lives. You have these scientists that are testing zombies to see if they can somehow be domesticated or told right from wrong, even though it's just way too late in the outbreak for that to work. And our head scientist is the crazed Dr. Frankenstein with blood constantly smeared on his jacket and is always feeding the leftover remains of fallen soldiers to the zombies. And then there's the military, while right in their ideas of we just need to shoot these things in the head, except that they're mad with power. They're borderline rapists and whack job racist sociopaths. They're also led by Captain Rhodes, who leads with the iron fist of a very sadistic dictator. Rhodes, by the way, is played wonderfully by Joe Pilato, who's one of the best movie villains of the 1980s, in my opinion. And overall, watching this small society of desperate people just destroy themselves from the inside is at the same time sad and fascinating. The addition of Bub makes for one of the most likable and well-written zombies in horror history, and the acting from the whole cast is all around great, especially in the depiction of all their fates. While one man may go down screaming bloody glory, another may say a silent prayer and just off himself out of the blue. So yeah, this is very much a hard, brutal film that takes isolation to the nth degree. The walls are tight, the lights just feel as dim as the caves, and even the music feels like it was orchestrated by someone living alone with just no hope in this world. Now, the Dawn camps and the Day camps used to be fairly divided. Apparently back then, if you loved Dawn, then you weren't a huge fan of Day. And if you loved Day, then you probably thought Dawn was overrated. Over time, though, Day not only found an audience that wasn't there in 1985, but it became the absolute norm to love them both. The tone of the movies could not be any more different. And that's kind of what I love about these movies, is that they're just perfectly unique to each film. I know we're in an age where we're still being bombarded with zombie stuff, even though I'd argue it's toned down a bit. But if you get a chance, put in Day of the Dead, check it out. It's a dark-ass zombie film where humanity is the scariest part, and to this day boasts the best zombie makeup effects I've ever seen. So, take care.
First, he created the most frightening film ever made. Then, he took his unique vision of terror one step further. Now, George A. Romero takes us out of the night, beyond the dawn, and into the darkest day of horror the world has ever known. Day of the Dead.
There have to be survivors in Washington.
Oh, my.
They have more sophisticated shelters than this one. There have to be people in those shelters who know about us, who know where we are. With no radio contact, they'll come looking for us.
I said shut up! They can be tricked into being good little girls and boys, the same way we were tricked into it on the promise of some reward to come.
What the fuck is wrong with you people? They're dead! They're fucking dead, and you want to teach them tricks?
They have to be rewarded, Captain. Why else will they do what we want them to do?
I don't want him to do anything with Troppo! Those are my men in there! That's it. Run, you fucking lunatics.
George A. Romero's Day of the Dead, the most eagerly awaited day in horror film history.